Hello, just a quick video, a quick update about some pieces of test equipment which I bought yesterday. I noticed them on a second-hand website online and they were for sale rather close by to where I live. I only had to drive for 20 minutes and the price was right. I paid 10 euros a piece, so 30 euros in total. And I just wanted to share with you what I got. So the idea is obviously that they end up in the workshop at some point, because they might help me with some of the reparations or restorations in the future. So you might see these feature in a video sometime. But yeah, let's just have a look what I picked up. Okay, so let's start with the cardboard box first, and that is in eprom programmer. An AL11. Let me just put these aside here for a second. So this is an eprom programmer from Hilo, an ALL11P. And as you might see over here, it's labeled as an ALL11P. There are different possible versions. So this is an eprom or an IC programmer from end of the 90s, I believe. I would think it's like 1997, 1998, something like that. See, there it is. I already have an eprom programmer, but mine is much more basic than this one. Mine is just a very small Batronics programmer, which has a lot of limitations. This one is much more advanced and much more professional. Now, if you know a bit about eprom programming, then you will also know that the older you go into the chips that you want to program, the more exotic the voltages are that you need to put on the chips. And I believe that the programmer that I have today only can go up to minus 12 volts or something like that. I don't know, but at least I know that there is a certain, like, say, generation of EPROMs that you cannot go beyond further into the past because you need higher voltages, let's say. This one can go up to minus 25, I believe. So it can burn more older chips, more chips. So it's like, it's a bit of a much more advanced model than what I already have. Now, obviously, it's still quite old. It uses a serial port to connect to the PC. It also needs an old version of Windows to run because it's the software is easily available, but it's a 16-bit software. So that means that it won't run on 64-bit operating systems like modern Windows 10, Windows 11. If it's a 64-bit system, it definitely won't work. So you need an older 32-bit version of Windows. I'm still figuring out how I'm going to set this up. I'm planning to run a virtual machine with an older version of Windows and then have the software installed in the virtual machine and try to use the programmer like that. I don't know yet. I'll have to figure it out. Also, it needs a bit of a clean. It's really dirty and it smells bad. I think it comes out of a household where there has been a lot of smoking. So it needs a big clean. But I'm really looking forward to getting into this because the programmer that I have really has its limitations. Now, if I don't manage to get it to run on a modern machine, I can always go and have an old PC somewhere and have an old version of Windows installed. But yeah, so far the idea is converting this serial port to a USB and then running Windows XP probably in a virtual machine, install the software in the virtual machine, and then we're gonna test and see if it works. According to the previous owner, all the three things should still work. They worked at least when he put them away in storage many years ago. So yeah, it should work, but hey, we'll see. What is also quite cool is that this programmer there is only one adapter here with it, but you can lift this out, I believe. See? And then you can, there would be different models available, different adapters, so that you can burn different types of chips. Obviously, I only have this one, but yeah, I've already found online that there are resources to create your own adapters, all these kind of things. So, okay. Anyway, that's that. If I manage to get it working, then I might post an update video for this one. What will I use this for? Primarily for burning ROMs and yeah, for burning EPROMs for pinball machines and arcade PCBs. Oh yeah, one thing that it also can do, it can test chips. If you have an IC from a standard logic like the 74 series, I believe, or if you have a RAM chip that you want to test, it should also be able to do that, but it's not mentioned in the manual and there is no documentation on that feature online whatsoever, so I might be able to figure that out myself. Okay, next one. Here in the back we have this guy. And this is a color pattern generator. It's a Grundig FG6 pattern generator for TV testing. Now, of the three devices, this is the one that I would need the least, I think, because I don't have any plans at the moment to start repairing televisions. But if I should repair a television at some point in the future, then at least I have a pattern generator on hand. So what can you do with a device like this? You can generate test patterns, all sort of grids or colors that you can generate. You can then output these test images, let's say, directly or through the IF or through the HF. So yeah, you can. There is also a sort of modulator inside and a tuner, see, so that you can output the signal through the tuner of the TV or directly just as video output. I think this is I don't have a lot of use for this device, but hey, it was only 10 euros and it's an incredibly cool device. If you look at the schematics or the pictures, how it looks inside, it's quite impressive. I think it also must have been quite expensive back in the day. I can't test it at the moment because it has a Dutch style plug and that doesn't fit here on a Belgian socket, so I will have to swap the cable and then I will be able to see if it works. Okay, and then the last one, and that's really the one that interests me the most actually. And this is a Wow and Flutter meter from Woelke. Yeah. And yeah, you notice on the channel I have been repairing a tape or a cassette deck recently, and I noticed that I was lacking a Wow and Flutter meter. Obviously, these days you can also do it in software, Wow and Flutter meter, but this one popped up locally and yeah, I picked it up. I already plugged it in. At first sight it seems to work. The switches are a bit stuck. Now they loosened up, but they are not great. So I will have to do a lot of cleaning here as well, I think. Maybe also cleaning the switches and then see if it's still working fine. So what is the idea of a device like this? If you don't know the point, the goal of a device like this is basically to check if your tape or if your record, in case you are testing a record player, if the speed is correct. So if it is not going too slow or too fast, or if the variations in speed are not too extreme. And you do this by playing a cassette in your tape deck. And that cassette should have a tone of 3 kilohertz or something, or 3.15 kilohertz. You put it in here, and the tone is compared to an oscillator inside, which is generating the same frequency, and then yeah, the device can show how much of a deviation you have from that tone. At the same time, you also here have an output. So this is here you have the 3.15 kilohertz tone on the output. So then you could take this tone, record it on a cassette, for example, and then play it back and see how much the tone has drifted in the recording or in the playback. Yeah, so this is quite fun, I think. And this is, of the three devices, the one I was most interested in, basically. So that one will definitely show up in a future video. I might even do a video about yeah, restoring this device, maybe checking if everything is working fine, and maybe repairing if needed, but okay. Okay, so that's that. I told you I was gonna keep the video short. So here are the three devices. Let me know what you think about them. Maybe you have experience with one of these devices, and maybe you have got some tips for me. I don't know, always welcome. The first things that I'm gonna do is try to get the programmer running on an old version of Windows and try to get that one working. The color generator will probably be put aside for a while. So, okay, yeah, short video. Anyhow, I'd like to thank you for watching, and if you enjoy my content or you would like to see these pop up in the future, then subscribe to the channel and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.